Your lawyer is sleeping with the enemy, trading pillow talk while you bleed in the water. Court is not confessional. The first time I sat down with my lawyer, I did what every guy who thinks he's doing the right thing does. I unloaded my story. The whole thing. Every wrong, every injustice, every time she twisted the knife. I thought if I painted the full picture, my lawyer would get it. Then they'd march into court, tear my ex a new one with my righteous truth, and I'd walk out with my kid, my reputation, and a moral victory. You know what my lawyer did? Nodded politely, charged me $375 an hour to listen, and then told me half of what I just said was irrelevant. The judge won't care about that. Like someone just told me my son's kindergarten art project wasn't fit for the fridge. I realized in that moment that court isn't where you get heard, it's where you get graded. Fastest way to weekend dad. Most fathers walk into family court like it's a therapy session with a neutral referee. They think if they tell their truth, that someone will care. That's not only naive, it's worse. It's projection. You think because you'd care if the roles were reversed, the judge will too. That belief is built on the same premise most men take into marriage. If I just show how good I've been, she'll treat me right. In red pill terms, that's a covert contract playing out in real time. You've been conditioned to think fairness is the default, that if you don't rock the boat, the system will take care of you. Except family court doesn't run on fairness, it runs on precedent and evidence. What can be proven, not felt. And your lawyer? They're not your buddy, your confidant, or your therapist. They're your contractor. You hire them to build you a winning case, not to agree with your pain. Boardroom with worse lighting. Court is like a business negotiation with terrible lighting. You're not there to express yourself, you're there to win a specific outcome. Every minute you spend venting in your lawyer's office is money straight from your pocket and time off your strategy. When I stopped treating my lawyer like a friend and started treating them like a business partner, my case changed. I stopped sending rambling emails and started sending bulletproof evidence packets instead. I cut out all the emotional adjectives and replaced them with time-stamped emails, screenshots, and logs. My calls got shorter, bills got lighter, and my results got better. The shift is simple but brutal. Your feelings are raw material, not the product. The product is the ruling you walk out with. Frame isn't flexing for the bailiff. Frame doesn't mean puffing your chest and trying to dominate the room like you're auditioning for Love is Blind. In court, frame is strategic composure. Walking in knowing the only currency that matters is evidence and refusing to get baited into emotional detours. Your ex will try to leverage access to the kids, your reputation, or your finances as a way to destabilize you. And if you take the bait, you're done. The judge won't remember you were provoked, but they will remember you looked unhinged. I've heard of dads blowing 6 months of perfect documentation because they took one sarcastic jab in front of the judge. You want to protect your frame? Well, instead, just mark it down. Don't react. Be present when it's strategically relevant. The day my lawyer stopped pretending to care. Early in my case, my lawyer and I were prepping for a hearing. I started venting about how my ex had been undermining my time with my son, subtle digs, forgotten pickups, last minute cancellations. I thought I was giving them ammunition. I got stopped mid sentence and they said, "Well, do you have proof?" Truth is, I really didn't. Without proof, my truth was just noise, and noise regularly gets tuned out in court. That week, I built my first custody log, dates, times, exact wording, not just she was late, but pick up schedule for 3 p.m., arrived at 3:37 p.m., child reported missing snack. Now I had data, and when the data started stacking up, my lawyer's tone changed. They finally had something to work with. I go deeper on moments like this in Tuesday's essay. You can find it here on my Substack. Your lawyer's KPI. Keep payments incoming. Here's the part you don't want to hear. Your lawyer makes money whether you win or lose. Their incentive isn't your outcome, it's your billable hours. That's not cynicism, it's just reality. Ruch's somewhat reductive mantra, value over validation, applies here. Your lawyer isn't there to validate your feelings, they're there to produce rulings. And your job is to manage the relationship like you manage movers with your grandmother's piano. Be concise, prepared, and deliver exactly what they need to do their job and not a scintilla more. Stop paying them to sort through your emotions for you. You'd be essentially burning money on therapy you didn't even need. The best lawyers love clients like that because you make them more efficient. The worst lawyers will miss it because they've been dining out on their clients' emotional chaos for years. Either way, you stay in control. Make the judge orbit you. Mental point of origin in court means your strategy comes first, not your lawyer's workflow, your ex's narrative, or the judge's sympathy. You're not there to be validated, you're there to execute a plan. That means if your lawyer says, we'll just see how it goes in the hearing, you push back. What's the objective? What's the fallback? What's the evidence package? If they can't answer in specifics, they're not leading, they're reaching and reacting. And in family court, reactive means you're cooked. Your lawyer is not your girlfriend. Here's the covert contract most dads make with their lawyer without even realizing it. If I tell you my whole story, you'll fight me for me harder. Well, that's wrong. Your lawyer fights for you when you make it easy for them to win, and that's it. Your lawyer isn't your bro, they're transactional. Athol K reminds us from his mindful attraction plan, the truth is most things and people are fungible. For instance, if you want an apple and you pick a bad apple, you just throw it away and get a new apple. You don't get upset about the old apple being bad because you have a new apple and all you wanted was an apple. All apples are replaceable by other apples. Apples are fungible. If you don't show value, they'll move on, just like the court will. Your whole story might matter to you and even some of your friends, and it might even be true. But unless it supports your legal position with actual admissible evidence, it's dead weight in the courtroom. I stopped giving my lawyer my whole story and started giving them my whole case. Every email, text, police report, witness, sorted, dated, indexed. They didn't even have to dig, they just had to argue. The day I played myself. I'm not perfect. There was a day I walked into a meeting with my lawyer already hot from an exchange with my ex. It led with feelings, not facts. We burned half the meeting chasing irrelevancies, the strategy got muddy, the bill got higher, and we left with nothing actionable. In that hearing, we lost ground, and not because my ex was better prepared, but because I let my frame slip and turned the meeting into a session of venting. I walked out knowing exactly whose fault it was. Her bag of courtroom tricks. In the red pill world, Threatpoint usually gets discussed in the context of relationships. It's the leverage women hold in the threat of divorce, withholding sex, social shaming, and in family court, Threatpoint is live ammunition. It's access to your children, your reputation as a father, your financial stability. Your ex doesn't have to win outright to damage you, they just have to create enough doubt that the judge plays it safe, which almost always means siding with the status quo. And the status quo is usually mom's schedule. So your job is to dismantle that threat point with evidence so clean the judge has no safe excuse to ignore it. How not to blow it. So here's the distilled version. Stop treating your lawyer like your friend. Start treating them like a business partner with a deliverable. Start with what you want and tell them to get it for you. This is straight out of the Better Beta Divorce Guide. Don't ask if it's possible, make them prove why it isn't. Cut your emotional word count by 90% and your evidence output by 900%. Protect your frame by refusing to get baited. Know your objective before you walk into any meeting or hearing. You can keep telling yourself the judge just needs to hear your side, But that's the same thinking that got you here. Sorry, champ. You don't get bonus points for honesty. You get it for proof. Win now, process later. Court will not make you feel whole, and it won't give you closure or heal the wound your ex left. That's not its job. Its job is to render a decision. Your job is to make that decision land in your favor. Every hour you spend treating court like a confessional is an hour you're not running your numbers, preparing evidence, and refining your argument that will actually move the needle. Your lawyer's not your friend. They're a hired gun. Aim them.